Hey there, and welcome back to the Dice Tower's continuing coverage from the GAMA trade show in the year of 2018. And right now, I am joined by Talon from CatDragon Games.
Yep.
Awesome name, by the way.
Thank you.
I'll have to talk about that, where that came from later. But you have a game here called I Would Fight the Dragon.
Yes.
And I find this fascinating because there's no way I would fight a dragon. So what's this about?
You're right. So just like it sounds like, knights in general, you dress up in your shiny armor, the king, you're relaxing at the king's table with a couple ales, the king comes in and he's just like, there's a dragon killing us, like, go and fight it. And everyone's just like, well, first off, you're a knight, inhuman, in hot tinfoil, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
And you're pretty crunchy and go good with ketchup usually. So, like, do you really want to go to fight a dragon? Not really. So the whole point of this game is that not to fight the dragon, but to not fight the dragon.
I would fight the
dragon. But, my shield, I left it at the barber shop the other day. I lost it. He couldn't find it again. So sorry, guys, I can't fight the dragon today. No shield. And so the whole game is essentially lying in these fun little twisted ways of, yeah, I would go fight the dragon, all my honor is all on this, but, just don't have the pieces. Sorry, gotta do it another day. So why don't you go fight the dragon instead? So it's all done by a gear point system. So there's gonna be 5 pieces of gear. You've got a horse. Let's see if I got all the pieces out there. I kind of don't. I got a horse with the horse symbol, shields, armor, and I need a quick helmet real quick. And so each one, there's going to be 5 symbols there, and then obviously your sword, because you can't go fight a dragon without a sword. So if you're caught with all 5 pieces of gear,
okay,
unfortunately you seem to be well equipped to go and fight this dragon.
So you don't want to be caught with the gear.
So you don't want to be caught with the gear. So it's a reverse liars game or a reverse bluffing game where you don't want to be caught with these pieces rather than wanting to be caught with the pieces.
Okay.
So and the way that's done is actually a really, really fun mechanic where you're always trying to take the gear that you have and shove it in your buddy's backpack. So I can have this hand up here, even though it's going to be a hand of 4.
Okay.
So let's say that these are 2 opposing players' hands.
Okay.
And I go, well, I got no cards in front of me that I've been caught with. I got no gear currently. So I go, well, I got to get rid of this helmet. It's one of the cards that I have. And so you say, I would fight the dragon, but, my wife, she used my shield to do the laundry the other day. Sorry, I gotta wait for that to dry now because it's on the clothesline, so totally can't mess with the wife. So unfortunately, I can't go fight the dragon, guys. And you would take a card, and it doesn't matter if that card is the card you lied about or not, and you place it face down in front of the opposing player. Okay. You don't get to look at this card though, but you get to do something fun. You can call me out. You know what it is because you saw the card, but you could call me out on my honor as a knight, saying, you scoundrel, you obviously have that shield. I saw your wife take it down yesterday, I think you have a shield underneath there. Or you can choose to go, you know what, I think I did see your wife, hang up your shield yesterday. And you would go ahead and gladly accept this face down card, but you would keep it face down in front of you.
Okay.
And you would then move on with your hand to go lie about something else, adding to this pack that you have no idea about.
Okay.
Because, you know that you have gear in there, but you kind of don't always know what was shoved in there at any point in time. So you could go and say, I want to lie about helmets now, even though you want to get rid of a sword. And so you would lie about, my sword broke, or, I used it for golfing the other day and I had to send it back to the armory, whatever you want. Okay. You can either use the images on the cards to kind of tell your lie, or you can make up your own. You don't necessarily have to follow what's on the card. It's always, they're there to help you for people who can't come up with a joke on the fly as well for something that they want to lie about. Okay. So you would place a card face down, and now it's a stack of 2, and you would pass that to a third player.
The whole stack keeps going.
The whole stack keeps going. And so now the third player could call you out on your honor, and if he decides to actually stick with calling you out, you would flip the entire pack over, and I screwed you earlier by having that helmet in there. And so, you know what? Yeah, you didn't have that sword or that thing in there, but isn't that your helmet? And he puts that card in front of you, and you're now caught with a helmet. Even though the sword and the helmet are both in there, the sword would be discarded.
Okay.
The game would continue with you because you were the one who got called out, and you can no longer lie about the helmet.
It's locked in.
It's locked in. So as you get caught with more and more cards, it's harder and harder to lie, and more knights start trying to foster that thing to send you off to the night with you. So you get caught with everything but a sword left. You're probably betting that someone's trying to pass you a sword to get you caught with it, because all you can lie about now is not having the sword.
That's nice too, because the strategy then seems to change during the course of the game, because at first it's kind of like just anything, but now people are start gunning for a specific piece of equipment.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out, well,
because in this game there's only one loser, and it's the guy who's got to fight the dragon. You don't want to be the guy, so you all want to be, having an ale while the one guy is, marching off in the hills, knowing he's not coming back again. So it's a really interesting concept that usually you see that most Liar's game, there's always one person who wins. Well, this one, it's everyone wins, but the guy's got to fight the dragon. So, and then there's one last thing that comes with lying, which is the ability to challenge the challenger.
Oh.
So it is called the stiff upper lip, where you firmly stand by your honor that you guarantee that there is no card underneath there. So if we put those two cards back again and say, you get that sword and that helmet underneath there, and let's say that you really wanted to go the distance, that potentially there's a helmet underneath there because someone might have screwed you. You had a full set, you've got like maybe a helmet and a sword left that you got to be caught with, whatever. And you pass this card off to the third player, and he goes, I challenge you, sir, your honor is tarnished, You can basically, you challenge my honor, I challenge your honor for being a bad knight. And you can basically up the stakes. You show that stiff upper lip to them, and you can double down on your deal.
Okay.
And that double down basically says, I'm basically stepping up again, saying I really, really think that there is no card underneath here that I lied about that is being applied to me. There is no helmet underneath here.
Even the ones you were given you haven't seen yet?
Even the one, no. You don't get caught with anything in your hand actually, so you don't have to worry about that. It's only the pack that you worry about because it's only the pack you're trying to foster off and trying to hide as you're sneaking around. So essentially, you're doubling down on your deal, saying I've got this, and doubling down means a couple of things. If you get caught as the double challenger, if those cards flip over and that you were telling a lie because that card is there, you've got to take 2 cards now. But if they lose that challenge, you double down, they follow through with it, because they could back down after you double down the challenge. They could just silently just take the pack in front of them and try and continue lying to the next person with a pack of 2 cards. Or, they could say, you know what, I'm going to stick with my challenge. I don't care if you double down on me. I don't care if you're showing the stiff upper lip of your honor. We're going through with this. Then you would actually flip it over. And if it was correct, if there was, let's say you were lying about a shield instead of a helmet, they would lose. And all of a sudden, remember that gear card you had placed in front of you earlier? You can choose to foster 2 cards onto them, or discard all the cards that you had been caught with, and instead give them one of your pieces of honor for tarnishing your honor as a knight.
One of your locked pieces of equipment.
One of your locked pieces of equipment.
Oh, so there's an out.
So there is an out for catching another knight in a lie of a lie.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun because you really got to think, if you double challenge somebody and you really feel confident about it, that what kind of other players are lying about currently, do you really can you double down on somebody and get them to trip and get rid of one of your locked pieces of gear so you can then lie about that again?
Nice. That adds a whole nother layer to it with that doubling down on it.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that if you do get caught because someone really was knowing what you were trying to play for, if you got caught and let's say you had that shield instead, you say, well, yeah, you did have that shield in there because your armor. So wait, isn't that your sword also in the pack too? And you would take all of the cards, and all of a sudden you're 2 more cards closer to victory.
Exactly. Oh, this sounds like a lot of fun. And in your experience, how long has a typical game? How long does a
game lasts? Probably about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on. It really depends on the average player on how fast they can come up with a joke. Sometimes I've seen some players use the cards for a quick and easy joke, and then just pass off another card. Because sometimes, and if you get really good, you can trick people by saying something that looks exactly like a card they know about, but push another one face down, and all of a sudden they think that you might have, the Sir Francis in the graveyard. You talk about burying his armor because it died the other day, and. You pass that card down, you're like, okay, he has Sir Francis in his hand because there's no way he might have came up with that joke by himself. He might have seen it off the card, and you can use that against players' expectations. So it all really depends on how fast they really want to lie, what they got to look at, and I expect some players to probably take new players learning the game probably take 25 minutes, but really it's about a 15-20 minute game. Cool. It lasts pretty quickly as the gear starts ramping up. You see players starting to want to foster that gear off. The game ends pretty quickly, and I wanted players to not just sit around feeling like the odds are stacked against them. I wanted them to lose and then get back into playing another game again with their friends and trying to foster somebody else onto the dragon instead.
Makes sense. Excellent. So what's the release timeline for this, and what's the price point?
The release time is going to be at the beginning of next month, so should be hitting retailer or distributors here in the next week or 2.
Excellent.
And the price point will be $11.99.
Very cool.
So it's a very much a
Nice.
smaller game, 50 cards. Each card actually has complete unique and individual artwork. Every knight has a different, there's like 4 or 5 knights in there, each doing a different thing with their armor or gear or whatever, and each card is completely unique to them.
Cool.
So there might be some repeated themes, but not many. Almost every card has something uniquely different about it to tell a lie about, essentially.
That makes sense to help out with that type of unique lying. Well, cool. This is really neat. I'm going to keep an eye out for it in the next month or week or whenever our time is that we just try to figure out.
Yeah, because I wanted it for April. I wanted it for April as, coming here to, Origins and, GTS and all the places that you go to usually normally, but it just ended up being a little bit late by a couple of weeks, so I'm pretty sure it's releasing like mid-March right now.
Excellent. Cool, I'll keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, thank you so much, Talon, for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Yes, that's I Would Fight the Dragon by CatDragon Games.
Yes.
And stay tuned to the Dice Tower for more videos coming up from the GAMA Trade Show.